Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman. A brand new week. It's time to dig into your marketing questions as we do each and every week. If you have a question for me to answer live on the show, go ahead and put those in the comments. Also, if you are watching this show, tell us in the comments where you're watching from. I will put you up on the screen and give you a little free publicity. It's always nice to see where people are watching from. Typically, we have people watching from all over the globe, and it's always exciting to me to have the ability to communicate with people from the far corners of the earth. And I know that's relative. I'm coming to you live just outside of Los Angeles, California. Now, if you're familiar with California and Southern California specifically, I live in Moreno Valley. It's affectionately known as the Inland Empire. In reality, it's where houses are just a tad bit more affordable. And of course, that's relative too. But along the coast of California is very expensive. So I live a little bit east in the desert area of the Inland Empire. Today, we're going to be talking about something that might seem at first a little bit boring, technical for sure. But if you have a website and you need help drawing people in from Google specifically, how do you get your website to rank higher in the listings without spending money on ads? That is what we're going to be covering in spades today. Now, if you're not familiar with my website, I have a very detailed article on this, and we're going to actually use that as the framework, the article that I wrote as the framework for today's show, at least the part that I contribute outside of answering your questions. So if you want to read it, you can find it. I've got that scrolling right now at the bottom of the screen. BowmanDigitalMedia.com is the website. The blog post itself is called Understanding Search Intent to Rank Content Higher on Google is the full article. Hang on a second. Sorry, I was trying to share my screen and be a little fancy at the same time, but I missed. So anyways, there you go. Understanding Search Intent to Rank Content Higher on Google is this name of the article. You can go to BowmanDigitalMedia.com and then just go to the About tab, go down to the blog section. In fact, I'll just click there and show you. So click on the blog, it'll take you to the blog section, and it's the most recent article that we have, Understanding Search Intent. There's some other good stuff in here too, of course, that we've written recently, how to uncover SEO opportunities with competitor analysis. If you're not looking at your competition and what they're doing, you might be making a mistake there. There's some gems to be had for sure. And why hiring a web development company is a smart investment for your business. It is funny to me how much money people spend, and funny by I mean sad, how much money they spend on ads, but they don't hire a digital marketing company to help them with their website efforts. And you actually can make a lot more hay with less dollars by doing some of these things on your website and specifically with your content without having to spend ads. Your bounce rate goes down, your sales increase, your sales pipeline gets full faster with people who are actually interested in your content. So read this article and learn a little bit more about why. But today we're talking about understanding search intent to rank your content higher on Google over your competition. I don't have any comments in the chat right now, and that's okay. We'll just start with the show content itself. So the very first thing that you have to understand, if you don't know what I mean, let me just show you real quick. So if you go to Google and let's say you have a company about beds. All right. I just recently landed a new client who's a bed manufacturer, and they're trying to get their content to rank on Google. So let's say you're looking for all natural. I know it might seem weird, but this is what they do. All natural materials bed manufacturer. That is what they do. All right. Now, if you come here, the very first thing that you're always going to see on Google is the ads, of course, because they make money when people click on these things. They get paid. So those are first. But that isn't what most people click on. Most people scroll right past the ads down into what Google calls the SERP. This stands for Search Engine Results Page. Although I like place or position a little bit better, but the P technically stands for page. But anyways, this is the one that statistically is going to get the most clicks because it's in the number one organic spot. This is not my new client. This is not my new client. In fact, I'll just remove the suspense here. None of these are my client. So how will my client get to be up here on this first page? In fact, they're right there. They are on the first page. They're just not at the top. Okay. So with that search, how can we move them from here? And if this was you, how can we move you from here to this top spot? What difference does it make? Well, mathematically, this is what I know to be true based on what Google puts out. This is the top spot here, the good trade. So the good trade's in the first spot. Statistically, across all boards, the first position, the first page is going to get about 30% of the overall search clicks from people on Google. So that position makes a huge difference because the next two spots, position 2 and position 3, they get the next 30% combined. They split the next 30%. Now, if you're good at math, that's 60% of 100% of the overall clicks are going to go to those first 3 positions. So you really do want to get there in the first 3 positions. So how do you do that? Well, one of the ways that you do that is you have to understand what Google does and why they would promote specific content over other content. There's a magic formula. It's not really magic, it's scientific, but there's a scientific formula to all of this. And understanding search intent is a part of that formula. Now, before we get into the search intent itself, let me just back up one step and get into what Google is looking for. And I've said this on many occasions. There are really 5 parts of what we call SEO, and that's search engine optimization. For those of you who are new to this particular topic, I'm actually going to go to my SEO page and show you. All right, I'm going to show you something here. So on SEO, this is what Google really is looking for overall. Okay. There's website structure. There's on-page content. And today we're going to be dealing with on-page content. There's also website speed. There are backlinks and visitor traffic, not just the overall volume of the visitor traffic, but the behaviors of the website traffic also make a difference. So now, if you only consider search intent, which we're going to be talking about today in detail, but you're ignoring the rest of these, this is where you might still be falling short. Okay. So make sure that you have your bases covered. And this is why hiring a web development company for SEO, by the way, is so important. Because if we've made sure that those 5 things are in good shape, and then you add on top of it what we're going to be talking about today, now you're going to have yourself a home run. Okay. Now you're going to start to see yourself and your articles and your content start to crawl higher and higher up the rankings of Google until you get to that first spot for these different keywords and key terms. Now, we'll get into keywords and key terms in a minute because that is the clue that will help you figure out which of these methods you should be writing for. So in other words, the writing style that you will implement for your new content should fit into one of these 4 categories that we're about to cover ad nauseum. So by the end of the day, you'll understand search content. If you bear with me the full hour, again, I know it's a little bit dry and boring. Again, I've had any comments. This doesn't surprise me because this is a very technical thing, but this is the difference between making a lot of sales and making no sales, specifically to people who don't know you already. Okay. Google doesn't really help you with the people who already know about you, so that they're already friends and family, if they're already customers, if they're already engaged with you on social media. These things aren't necessarily, well, they're not going to hurt you for sure, but it's not necessarily going to help you. What today is going to do is help you to find the people who are searching for the things or the services that you offer, who don't already know you exist. And we're going to utilize search intent to encourage Google to promote our content higher and higher up the list so that people who don't know you but need what you do will find you easier. That's the basic premise of search engine optimization as a whole. Now, again, we need to always keep in mind there's the 5 basic components of SEO that we need to always be mindful of and working to stay on top of to improve where we can. The site structure. That's a technical thing. You probably shouldn't be doing that yourself because frankly, it's very involved. It changes over time. And if it's not your area of expertise, you likely don't have that set correctly, just so you know. And I'm not trying to be rude to anybody, but if you used a template builder on a website somewhere and it wasn't specifically a template that was optimized for SEO, it likely is not performing well in Google's eyes, not the way you experience the website. On-site content is very different than site structure. Site structure includes things, and if you've never heard of these terms, then you know for sure you have a problem. Your your schema report, your robot.txt, your site maps, your alt texts, your H tags. These are things that are very important. Now, there's more to than that to it, but that if those terms you've never heard those terms, you haven't dealt with those things on your website, then your site structure is probably not set up correctly. Now, site speed is a big one. It's easy to measure. You can test it at any time, but site speed is a big one. Your on-page content, again, we're going to be talking about that a lot today, so I'm going to skim over that one for right now. But on-site content is also extremely important. There's a thing called UX UI. UX UI stands for user experience and user interface. Now, those are partly site structure and partly on-site content. So that's like kind of like overlaps the two sections, but extremely important because that's how people use your website. The experience that they have, the interface. Is it easy? Is it fast? Is it in a logical place? Those are things that you get judged on with user interface. Then you have your backlinks. Backlinks, I think we've covered in a previous show, so I won't talk about those too much. But backlinks are other places on the website that point back, or I'm sorry, on the internet that point back to your website. Some of them are on your page or on your website. Those are called internal links. Then you have the external links, which are on other websites. And those are really good, especially if they're what we call follow links that are not sponsored or user generated content. So you want follow links from other websites. Those are great, especially if they have a high domain authority. The higher the domain authority, the stronger that link is. In other words, the more it's worth. The fifth one is, as we just talked about a minute ago, visitor traffic. But visitor traffic is not just a numbers game when it comes to overall volume of visitors. A lot of it has to do with first-time visitors, which most are, repeat visitors, how long they were engaged on your website, how many pages they visited on your website. So if you're paying attention to people coming back, how many pages they visit, and how long they stay and are engaged, those are good things. Another thing to really pay attention to is something called your bounce rate, which is why I'm not a huge fan of PPC campaigns. In other words, the ads. The reason why I don't like ads specifically is because they, of any type of traffic generation out there, emails, advertisement, stuff from Google directly, the organic search, social media, things from your sales efforts, marketing campaigns, going to trade shows, all that stuff. Of any of those categories, pay-per-click ads have by far the highest bounce rate of any of them. And there's a penalty that comes because what a bounce rate is when somebody comes to your site, but they don't do anything. They pretty much come and they leave. They don't scroll, they don't click, they don't read stuff. They're not there very long. It's considered a bounce. And if you have a very high bounce rate, let's say it's over 50%, you get penalized by Google for that. The higher it is, the more the penalty is. And what does that do? Well, it goes into their algorithm, which determines the SERP. In other words, where are you positioned on Google? Let me show you a quick example. Okay. Now, I have not been to any of these websites, just in full disclosure. So I'm not speaking about them any directly. But let's say that this particular page and this particular page have equal strengths for the content that it delivers itself. In other words, the information is similar, has a similar word count, same amount of videos and things like that in it, what we call interactive media. But Google has to determine which one to put on top of the other. So it chose, for whatever reason, this company Natural Bed over Joy Natural Mattress. Okay. Why did it do that? Well, one of the reasons that could push this one down and pull this one up could be because of the Google penalties. And that might be in this particular case. Let's say this one advertises more PPC than this one, right? And so their bounce rate would be higher. And then that would give them an overall higher score. So that's, again, all these things, the 5 components or 5 elements. In that element, 20% of the score basically is the visitor traffic. So if you have a high bounce rate, it can pull you down because it's pulling that overall score down. It's a cumulative effect. Hopefully that all makes sense. But today we're going to be talking about what we call search intent. Now, anytime somebody puts in a search expression into the search bar on Google, Google calls that a query. But inside the query, there are clues to what the intent of the searcher is. So in my particular case, I put all natural material bed manufacturer, but I didn't give it any clues as to I'm looking to buy one, I'm looking to compare them. I don't have the clues there. So how does Google know which of these 4 that we're going to talk about search intents it is? Well, let's look at it and we can help if we can think like Google, then we can start to create content that will help Google promote our content. So in other words, how can we help them do a better job at recommending our business over our competitions? That is, in essence, what this article is all about. So understanding search intent to rank content higher on Google is the purpose of the show. So let's just read it a little bit and get some basic understanding of what we've got going on here. All right. What's the purpose? What are we going to learn today? Okay. So the very first thing says to rank your website content higher on Google, you need to understand search intent. Search intent is the purpose of a person's search. It is the reason they typed specific terms into the search engine. When you understand search intent, you can write content that is more likely to satisfy the needs of your target audience. This can help your content rank higher in search results. Ranking higher will result in more website traffic, especially if you can rank on the first 3 spots of the first page of Google on any given topic. Now, again, the reason why that's so important, those first 3 spots, as I've already said, 60% of people will click on 1, 2, or 3, positions 1, 2, or 3 on the first page. And that's the lion's share. It's 60%. It's over half of all people will click on those first 3 spots. So to get there on any search term can be very helpful. But if you can get there on higher searched search terms, that's even better. So how do you find the search terms that are used the most in your industry? Well, I have a tool that I like to use called Word Tracker, but you can actually do this in your Google Search Console. That's the tool probably most people use. So there's a variety of tools out there. I might cover that later in the show. If somebody wants to see a specific example of that, you can let me know in the comments and I'll take some time and show you. But otherwise, I'm just telling you, there are tools out there. Some are free, some are paid, that you can use to find the highest volume search phrases out there. Now, I will say this. I don't always go after the terms that are searched the highest for my clients because it's not low-hanging fruit. Sometimes we'll use lower search, in fact, even much lower search terms, volumes, because the correlating competition that goes with it is much less. Therefore, it's much easier to dominate. So you can hit a lot of singles. Let's say, use a baseball analogy. Instead of swinging for the fences and going for a search term that has like a million views per month on Google, but might have a competition rate of like 65, 70%, with an IAAT score in the hundreds of thousands or even millions, we might go for one that has like 150 searches per month, but has a competition score of 0 or 5 or something like that, with an IAAT competition score of like 100 or 50 or something like that. Just much easier to dominate those smaller. So in a healthy marketing campaign, you likely have a blend, kind of like in investments where you go with some safe mutual funds and some that might have a little bit more risk to balance things out. Same kind of idea with investment that you would do with search engine optimization marketing strategies. Okay, so once you know what these key terms are, it can make a huge difference. So let's keep going with the lesson here. Now, the next thing I have, excuse me, I have a picture that probably all of you recognize. This is the Google homepage, right? The search bar. This is what it's all about right here. What people put right here makes a huge difference in the content that would be returned by Google. I can show you a live demo if we have a little bit of time, just by changing the phrases just a little bit, by putting near me or where to purchase or how to get to, things like that, the history of. Now we can start to guide Google and really dig into the intent of what the person is searching and provide content that satisfies it. Now there are four main types of search intent. I'm actually going to get off the screen for just a second to make this bigger for you so we can see this easier. There are four types: navigational, informational, commercial, and transactional are the four types. Okay. So navigational intent means that the user wants to find a specific page. It could be the history of something. It could just be, their favorite team. It could be a whole variety of things, but they just want to learn more about a specific topic. They're not looking to buy it or sell it or get advice on it. They just want to know more about it. So that's what we call navigational intent. Just help me find information on this specific content. Then I'm sorry, excuse me. Navigational and informational are actually very similar. Informational intent means that the user wants to learn something. It might say, tell me about the history of. In fact, I did this yesterday. Let me come on screen. I did this yesterday for a client of mine who they're GeoDjango, in case you guys are interested. GeoDjango, they sell maps. They create maps. They sell maps. And one of the types of maps that they sell that are very popular are push pin maps. And so I'm looking to add some content to some of their pages to help them increase their SEO. And I was looking up the history of push pin maps, specifically push pin world maps. And there wasn't a lot out there, which is good for me in the sense that when I create this content for them, which is almost done, anyone else who searches that, they're going to be high up on the list because there's frankly not a lot for Google to deliver. Okay. But that would be considered informational content. So the search intent that I had at the time when I was looking at the history of pushpin world maps was informational intent. That's what I was looking to find. Okay. Let's go back to the lesson. Commercial intent means that the user is interested in buying something. Now you might see that these two, transactional intent, commercial intent, are strongly related. Navigational intent and informational intent are also strongly related, but the two groups are completely different. So these are more informational, fact gathering stuff about the particular service or product or thing, and these two are about basically, hey, I want to learn more about it so I can buy it, or I'm ready to buy it. Where can I buy it? That's kind of the difference between commercial intent and transactional intent, right? But by understanding the different types of the search intent, you can tailor your content to meet the needs of your target audience. For example, if you're writing a blog post about how to make a cake, you would want to focus on informational intent. You would want to provide the readers with a clear and concise instructions. However, if you're writing a product page for a new laptop, you would want to focus on commercial interest. you would want to highlight the features and benefits of the laptop and make it easy for them to purchase it. Okay. Understanding search intent is an important part of SEO, the search engine optimization. Again, SEO stands for search engine optimization, and that simply means how to get your website to be listed very high up on the first page. That is what the purpose of SEO is all about. Okay. So let's get into the four categories because we're already starting to run short on time here. We're halfway through, but that's all right. Navigational intent. What is it? Navigational intent means that the user wants to find a specific page. For example, if someone searches Google, they're likely trying to go to the Google homepage. This type of search is often performed when the user already knows what they're looking for. They're simply using the search engine as a shortcut to get there. Let's talk about that for a second. I think too many companies are out there are assuming that people know about your brand. They know your name, right? Like the first thing I ask people when I'm on a consultation call after we get past the pleasantries, I ask them what their company does, right? And then I say, okay, well, usually after they give me a 30-second to a minute, response, I usually ask them, okay, well, great. Well, how many people are finding you for that on Google? And they'll tell me like, oh, they rank really high. And I say, really? Okay, cool. Let's look. Right. And then I go and I do a search and I just put in the search bar what they just told me. And then I look and I don't find them. And then they get puzzled and they go, well, Google our company name. And I go, okay. So I Googled their company name. And sure enough, most of the time, those companies will come up right away. So in the case where you're trying to reach people who already do know about you, navigational intent is helpful. But for today's lesson, most of us are trying to find people who don't already know our company name. We're not Nike, we're not Target, we're not fill in the blank, right? You know what I mean? Like even Bowman Digital Media. Many people know about Bowman Digital Media thanks to my social media efforts and my SEO efforts, but far more people don't know about Bowman Digital Media. They need what we do, but they don't know who we are. So if I only focused on navigational information, stuff about my company, and I didn't talk about or focus on, and we'll get into some of the strategies here, but if I don't focus on the pain points, if I didn't focus on case studies, if I don't talk about the problems that people are having and the way that we can address their problems, but I only focused on, here's Bowman Digital Media. We do these 6 services. And, Ira's been in sales and marketing for 3 decades now, those types of things. Like, it's all about us. This is great for navigational content, but it's not good for reaching people who don't already know us because they're not searching for us by name. When you get to the point where people are searching for you by name, that's a cool place to be. But most of us need to get out of obscurity. To get out of obscurity, we need to focus on the 3 other types. Let me share my screen again. We'll keep rolling through it. I'm going to read this section to you because it is good and it is still good to know. Okay, so examples of navigational search would include something like Facebook, Amazon, New York Times, Gmail. I do this all the time for the Las Vegas Raiders because it used to be Raiders.com, and I don't know if it still is, but I always get confused. So I just go to Google, type in Las Vegas Raiders, and then Google takes me to the Las Vegas Raiders page. I click on it, and away I go. All right. So it could also be things like directions to the nearest Starbucks or log into my bank account. I wouldn't really use that one too much, but it is an example that people actually search. So I put it in the article. All right. Navigational searches can be more specific, such as searching for a particular product page on a website. For example, a user might search for iPhone 13 Pro purchase page or Nike Air Jordan 1 High Retro Chicago 2023 release. I put this in for the benefit of my kid, by the way. He's a huge basketball fan. So I use that as an example. Not that he'll ever read the article, but you never know. He might. But I can see this happening quite a bit on my website as I do these articles or I talk about these topics. I will see searches from Google I'll see traffic coming over from Google where they did like SEO services by Bowman Digital Media, for example, or maybe you were looking for Marketing Mondays by Ira Bowman on Bowman Digital Media. You didn't know the page to go, so you're on Google and you just click that in. So those can start to happen as, again, you climb out of obscurity. Again, of all the search types of these 4 intent types, this is probably the one that will you least need to focus on, but it is good just to understand it. And I put it first just to get it out of the way. When users perform a navigational search, the search engine will try to return results that are most relevant to the user's query. That is always true. This may include the website itself, as well as related pages, such as websites, login page, or product pages. You might be searching for a book that I've put out recently. So, for example, just yesterday, I had my everyday techniques to help with stress, anxiety, and mental health issues come out. So if you were to search Ira Bowman's book, Everyday Techniques, it might not take you to the Bowman Digital Media page, although we certainly do have a page on our site about that. In fact, I'll show it to you. So in my drop down menu under Media Kit, it's called Mental Health Tip Books. But here's the book, Everyday Techniques to Overcome Anxiety and Mental Health Struggles. There it is. It's live on Amazon right now. It came out yesterday. So if you were to search for this book title, it might take you here, but it also might take you to the Amazon page. All right. So that's an example of navigational intent. Those are some of the things that Google might put. And it probably has both on there if you were to search that specific thing. But which one goes first and which one goes second? There's, again, a myriad of things that come into play. It's site structure, it's site speed, it's content, it's the backlinks to it, it's the visitor traffic and their behaviors, right? All 5 things are important there. So navigational intent, again, just keep this in mind. This is of the 4, probably the one you need to focus on the least. Now, informational intent could probably be one of your bigger focuses, maybe the bigger of all the focuses. Okay. Why? Because people tend to do in this order. They tend to search in this order. Learn about the thing, then learn what options they have to acquire the thing, and then the last one is learn, or just where to find the place to go buy the thing. So if you can get in the process early and be a part of the educational part of the prospect, you're going to build probably some brand loyalty there and some rapport that can help you. That can be the differentiator in, well, do I buy from these guys who I've heard of, or to buy from those guys that I haven't heard of? You understand what I'm saying? So if you can be the place where they go to learn about the product or services and how it benefits them early on in the process, I believe that gives you a leg up. And that's why I personally like to focus on informational intent when I write. So let's learn about it. Informational intent means that the user wants to learn something. For example, if someone searches how to make a cake, they likely looking for recipe instructions. The type of search is often performed when the user is curious about a topic or wants to research a product or service before making the purchase. And this is huge. It's research that they do prior to the purchasing phase. They're not thinking about price. They're not thinking about how to pay for it, any of that stuff yet. They're just thinking about, hey, I heard about this thing, like in our case, search intent, and I want to learn more about search intent. So this article is an entire example of informational intent. I wrote this article to fulfill informational intent when someone's trying to learn about search intent. If you can follow me there. Okay. So examples of informational searches could include how to change a tire. What's the best way to learn Python? Pretty cool. Not easy to do, but a good thing to learn. That's a computer. That's a computer program language, by the way, not a snake in that case. All right. What are the symptoms of a common cold? Reviews of the iPhone 13 Pro, comparison of different types of coffee makers. These are all examples of informational intent. With an informational search, the search engine will try to return results that are most informative and relevant to the user's query. This may include articles, blog posts, videos, and other types of content. I will tell you this, just as a strategy. Try to always include a video in your blog. In full disclosure, I always like to be completely transparent with my audience. I'm going to take today's show and put it inside the blog. So why am I covering this topic today? Well, I wrote the blog. I wanted to cover it on the show, partly because I wanted to put a video that was related to the content in the blog in the article. So Marketing Mondays will be not only on Marketing Mondays YouTube channel and on my Marketing Mondays tab on my website, but I'll also have a link to it here in this blog. So if you're catching this after the show is done and you click on the blog, then you'll notice the video is there. And I'll just as a side, I always like to put the videos up at the top. Okay. So the video will land. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Oh my gosh. Silly me. Sorry. All right. I'm gonna put the video right up here. Why? Well, here's the thing that I know about consumer behavior. Google loves written content. In fact, if you don't have written content on a page, Google will not index the information inside the video. So in other words, Google's not going to know what the page is really about. So the written content is primarily for the artificial intelligence that's ranking your site, each page on your site, to be more specific. But the video is how you actually reach the audience, because 80%, listen to me now, that's 8 out of 10 people. When they go online, they'll eventually park, or where they're going to stop and hang out is on the videos. So that's one of the reasons why I dedicate an hour to the show every week. I take it right out of the heart of my business day on Monday, the busiest day of the week. And I do this show. Why? Because I know that's what people are looking for, whether they're here live or they come later, makes no difference to me, honestly, but they come, and they come in large numbers because of consumer behavior. So once you understand that, you can jump on this and be very effective. So let's get back to informational intent. Informational intent is important for businesses. They represent the opportunity to reach customers who are interested in learning more about what they have to offer. When a customer performs an informational search for brand or product, the business has a good chance of educating the customer and converting them into a lead or a customer. Now, again, remember what I said. This is a crucial part of why informational intent is so important, because you can take someone who didn't know about you, become the trusted advisor on the topic they're searching for, and then when they're ready to buy, you have a leg up because of this relationship that you've built through the informational intent content, the educational process. You are a part of it. So they trust you more than a company that they have never heard of or don't have a relationship with. So it's key for rapport building. Okay. Let's go to commercial intent. Commercial intent is, this is what it says. Let me just read it to you here. Commercial intent means the user is interested in buying something. If someone searches for best laptop for college students, they are likely looking to make a purchase. This type of search is often performed when the user is ready to take action, actions like making a purchase or signing up for free trial. Okay? When a user performs commercial search, the search engine will try to return results that are most relevant to user's query, that over the user's best chance of taking action. Now, if we come back to the example here, okay? Let's just come back for just 1 second. How do I know what Google thought my intent was with this specific search term? Couple different ways. I can look at here at the suggestions. Now, this is Google trying to be helpful, okay? But also, see this? All of these are purchase options. They didn't show me manufacturers near me. They didn't show me history pages, right? What did they show me? They gave me what they think are the most logical answers, but they also gave me, hey, you want to buy something? Google thinks that my purpose of this specific uh, search is a commercial intent, not informational. Because if they thought that it was informational, the other things on the page kind of give it away. So if you're not sure what your search terms, what does Google think these keyword or key phrases in the query are steering towards? Is it commercial? Is it informational? Is it navigational? Right? Which one of these four is it looking for? Well, in this case, or transactional was the other one. It thinks it's commercial. Okay, and it's evidenced by what you see with it. So that can give you some clues on how you should again formulate the content that you're writing. All right. So, what are examples of commercial uh, searches? How they include where to buy a TV, best deals on laptops, reviews of Nike Air Jordans, compare car insurance rates, sign up for a free trial of Netflix. Those are all commercial intent. So when a user performs commercial search, the search engine will try to return results that are most relevant to the user's query. That is again the search term that they are using, and then offer the user best chance of taking action. This may include product pages, landing pages, and other types of content that are designed to convert the user into customer, hence the buy now options on the Google page. Okay. Commercial intent is important for businesses because it represents a valuable opportunity to reach customers who are ready to go. They're interested, they have they're interested in having an offer now at this point. They're beyond education, so informational is done. They're ready to go. They're looking to make a purchase pretty soon. Okay. So when a customer performs commercial search for a brand or product, the business has a good chance of converting them into a customer. Transactional intent is similar as you're going to see, but it's a little bit different because now they're going straight for the where can I buy this thing, right? I'm not comparing anything anymore. I want to specifically buy. Okay. Transactional intent means that the user is ready to make the purchase. For example, if someone searches buy a laptop, they're likely ready to click on the link and complete the purchase. This type of search is often performed when the user has already done their research. It's so important, right? If you can find them in the research phase, you've got a huge leg up. And it's simply looking for the best place to complete their desired action. Now, manufacturers do a good job of writing informational intent, but let's say you're the franchise for a manufacturer, you're authorized dealer. So let's say they, in their informational phase for laptops, they decided they wanted an HP or a Dell or a Compaq or whatever, right? So there's the different options out there. But then they said, okay, well, I really like, I have a Dell laptop. So I really wanted to get a Dell laptop and I had my reasons for wanting the Dell. So then when I was ready to be at this transactional intent, I was like, well, where am I going to get it? Well, on full disclosure, I went to Dell's website and bought it straight from Dell. Why? Because when I did my homework in my research phase, I did a lot of my research on Dell's website. I was willing to trust Dell. And even if I could find a little bit better price from a local dealer, I didn't care. I wanted to get it from Dell direct. So I did. All right. And it's important to understand that buyer loyalty starts in the informational intent phase. Okay. But transactional intent means the user is ready to make the purchase. For example, if someone searches buy laptop, they're likely ready to click on a link and complete the purchase. This type of search is often performed when the user has already done their research and is simply looking for the best place to complete the desired action. So, examples of transactional search include buy the iPhone 13 Pro, sign up for Netflix subscription, download a free ebook on how to start a business, book a flight to New York City, make a reservation at a restaurant, fill in the blank. Okay. When a user performs transactional search, the search engine will try to return the results that are most relevant to the user's query and now offer the user the best chance of completing the desired action. This may include product pages, landing pages, and other types of content that are designed to convert the user into a customer. This is where you have your best shot of earning their business, especially if they've heard of you before. Okay. Transactional intent is important because because it represents a valuable opportunity to reach the customers who are already ready to take action. So again, this is where UX UI becomes very important, because if they know they want the thing and you make the thing easy to get, to acquire, then you have a great shot. If your website is hard, it has bad UX, bad UI, slow load times, things like that, your site's down for maintenance. Obviously, those people, they're ready to buy right now. They're in that ether, and they're going to just move on to the next place. Okay. So the more competition you have, the more crucial UX, UI, and website speed become. All right. Here's some tips for optimizing your website for transactional searches. Use relevant keywords in your title tags, meta descriptions, and header tags. Again, if you don't know what this is in that uh, website structure. So that's the structure of your site. Has nothing to do with what the people are seeing per se, as much as it is the way your website is set up. Create high quality landing pages that are designed to convert the user into a customer. In other words, if they're looking for the iPhone 13 Pro, you need to have a page dedicated just to that. It's why I have this particular book page. This is an example of a landing page for a specific product. Now, notice what I've got here. I've got the book title. This is my H1 tag. I've got a picture of the book. They have a button, a call to action button. If they know they want to order the book, they can just click here and buy it. Done. If they're not 100% sure they want to buy it, they still want a little more information, I've got a video here about the book, what they can expect to get when they purchase it. And then I've got the book preface if they want just a little sample. I've got the authors here that are a part of the, this is a collaborative book. So I've got information on them. So this would be informational content. Then I've got tips that are covered in the book. What can you expect to learn if you read the book? Again, I've got another button making it easy in case now they're ready to go and they weren't ready to go at the top. They might be ready to go now. And then I've got this thing, be the first to know, in case we have a show or somebody's on a podcast, or maybe we do a book signing, a book launch party, anything like that, they can sign up. And so this is a dedicated web page on my website all around one product, in this case, not a service, but right. So that's what we're talking about here by creating high quality landing pages that are designed to convert people interested in that specific thing. So they go from a prospect at that point to a customer. All right. Use clear and persuasive language on your landing pages. In other words, sometimes I see this. You have industry experts who are trying to show how smart they are in their field, but what they do is they lose the audience because they use terms that the general public is not familiar with. So make sure that 5-year-old can understand what you're talking about. Keep it simple, silly. That's the way we'll use the KISS acronym today. Okay. Make sure it's easy for customers or users to complete the desired action. In other words, if you want them to sign up for a consultation, or you want them to register for an event, or you want them to purchase something, make sure that it's easy to do. Yeah. So we're covering this right now. A person is online looking to actively buy a product or service. How can we increase the conversion rate? This actually are your tips right here. So great timed question. Thank you very much. But these tips for optimizing your website for transactional searches will help you increase your odds of getting them to go from looky-loo to making a purchase and becoming a customer. All right. Offer a variety of payment options and shipping methods. This also is extremely important for high ticket items. If you have something that's 99 cents or $5, you probably don't have to have too many options. But one of my clients, and he's a really good friend of mine, his name is Joseph Stepke. He's known as Joe the Finance Guy. What does he do? Well, what he does is he gives lease options that are like pay to own, so instead of like an old layaway program, he gives the businesses the opportunity to have their clients run a credit check, and then his company will pay the retail establishment whatever the purchase price plus the tax and all that stuff of the sale. So now the customer can use cash, they can use their credit card, or they have this like lease to own type of a option, right? So by doing that, they maybe the person doesn't have cash, maybe they don't have credit, maybe they have credit cards, but they're maxed out, something like that. This is just another way to make it easier to purchase. So if you can think about your purchase options and make offer a variety of payment options and then the shipping methods, maybe there's, will call, maybe there's overnight. But if it's something that's giant and heavy, maybe there's, ground shipping and stuff like that. So you could have expedited shipping, slow normal delivery, or will call. Now you have couple different payment options plus a couple different delivery options, including picking the thing up yourself, right? And now you've given your customers a wide berth to make the choice that's best suited for them, as opposed to a company that maybe has you can only have it shipped overnight, or you can only pick it up, or maybe you can only pay with a credit card, and maybe the person doesn't have credit card. Here's another thing like PayPal and Venmo and Wise and all these other different payment systems that are out there. Maybe the use of some type of cryptocurrency, for example. All these things may not seem like a big deal by themselves, but when you add it all up, you are increasing the breadth of ways that people can transact with you. Some people have specific preferences. So now you have a better shot of matching your options to their specific preferences and garnering more of the overall sales. All right. So now that we've covered what the four types of search intent are, let's talk about how to diagnose which one is the best for you. So, ways to identify search intent. Here's three ways. Look at the keywords. The keywords that people use to search for the information can give you a good indication of their intent. For example, keywords like how to or what is are typically associated with informational intent. While keywords like buy and best are typically associated with commercial intent. So, what are the keywords? Again, we're not specifically going over the tools today on how to find the keywords and the volumes associated with them. Trust me, that's its own specific class. But Google Console, Word Search Tracker, Ask the Public is Neil Patel's. There's a variety of tools out there that you can use to find the volumes associated with search terms. Okay. So look at the words that they're using. Then look at the search results. The top ranking pages for a particular search query can also give you a clue as to what kind of information you should be sharing or how your page should be built. Okay. So again, if we come back to the Google example, we put in all natural materials bed manufacturer. Now, if I change this to I just changed that to are there any all natural material beds? This is going to change the results. Okay. Now, Good Trade is still up there, but Wired has now got an article, and this is the best organic mattress. This is here now because this is thinking that it's more informational and less commercial or transactional. All right. This is an article about it telling me, the different okay, Leaf Source, which was number 2, is now in the number 4 spot. The Futon Shop wasn't in the top before. It is. Tom's Guide, here's another one. So again, by changing this expression, I'm changing the results because Google is thinking that my intent is a little bit different. Maybe not now I'm not commercial or transactional. Maybe now I'm more informational, right? Or navigational. Okay, there are 4 types. So the clue is to figure out the terms, look at the terms, but then also look at the results that Google's showing. If you want to rank higher, if you're on page 3 and you want to get to page 1, go to page 1, look at the results that are coming up now, and then try to match their style of information that they present. And by doing that, you're probably going to get rewarded by Google. That's the idea. Okay. Use Google's keyword planner. Google's keyword planner tool can also help you identify search intent. The tool shows the average search intent for a particular keyword, as well as the related keywords that people use. So again, here's another tool that you can use. I believe you can use that for free, and it'll help you with identifying the search intent. So 5 things you can do to optimize your content for search intent. Once you know what you're trying to do to optimize your search content, you can do the 5 following things. Choose the right keywords. In other words, go through the list, pick the ones that match what you're trying to do. The keywords you choose should be relevant to your target audience. So, in other words, have your ideal client profile, have your avatar in mind, because you may not be trying to go after the masses. You might be trying to go after a specific segment of the masses. So, make sure your content matches the intent that they would have when they're using these terms. Okay. Um, your content should answer the user's question, provide the information they're looking for, or help them complete the task, like where to purchase, how to purchase. Okay. Structure your content well. Your content should be well organized and easy to read. There's something out there called Yost's Flushability Ease Score. If you have never looked that up, I have written about it, I have talked about it, but you can certainly search on Bowman Digital Media in my blog and find more information. Go back and find the episode on Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman about that, or just do a Google search, whatever you want to do. But you should have well organized and easy to read content. And you see how this, I've got, a, we call this an H2 tag, but this is a heading tag. And then we've got some content. It's structured with numbers or bullet points. But one of the things with Yost's ease of flushability scores is not having more than 300 words in any one section. So if you go through these sections and you find that they're always relatively short, they're somewhere between 100 and 300 words. It's not by accident. That's to make it easier for you to consume. Okay. Use relevant keywords throughout your content. Your keywords should be used not only in the H tags, but also in the body, okay, through your content. But they should be naturally and not in a spammy way. In other words, don't keyword stuff. Use the words in a frequency that makes sense. So you're talking about it as you would naturally deliver content like I am in this particular video, okay? Promote your content. Obviously, once you've published your content, you need to promote it so that people can find it. That promotion does what? It helps with number 5, which is visitor traffic. The more people you can get organically over to your content, whether that's email campaigns, social media, however, word of mouth, sales activities, just talking about it naturally, try to get as many people as you can without Google. The more you get, the more people stay there and interact with your content. That will boost that part of the score, and it'll help incentivize Google to promote your content over somebody else's. So again, why is this one above this one? Not only could this have a better bounce rate, but it also might actually just have longer engagement time. People came back a second or third time. So not as many first time visitors, but more second or subsequent following. So what we call repeat traffic. That repeat traffic makes a huge difference. Okay. So a lot of different ways to boost your score on Google, but promoting your content is one of them. So the importance of search intent, just to kind of start wrapping this up a little bit. Search intent is the reason why a user types a particular query into a search engine. It's important for SEO because it helps Google to understand what the user is looking for and to provide them with the most relevant results. Because if you make a search query on Google and you don't get the information you're looking for, the odds of you going back to Google next time go down. Especially, let's say you do it 3 times in a row. You're like, well, every time I go to Google to search for something, I don't find what I'm looking for. Well, now you might be open to using other tools. Maybe you go to Siri, maybe go to Alexa, maybe you go to ChatGPT, right? There are other options. There's also Bing and DuckDuckGo. Like, we have options. So Google wants to keep us coming back for more. Their incentive is to give you actually what you're looking for. So that's why search intent is so important, and writing content around understanding the search intent of those who are using these phrases becomes critical. Because again, Google wants people to come back. So they want your content when they promote it to actually answer the question. It's really important that you understand that. You've got to answer the question. If Google can accurately determine user search intent, it is more likely to be able to provide them with the most relevant results. This means that the user is more likely to click on one of the search results, which is good for the website that is ranking for that query. Again, that's the search term. Okay. And it also is good for Google because it means they're more likely to come back to Google next time. All right. I didn't write that here, but I should have. Okay. So, what are 4 tips for optimizing your content for writing SEO? You want to use the relevant keywords throughout your website. However, avoid keyword stuffing. I cannot emphasize this enough. It's not about using the same word 50 times. It's got to fit in naturally, conversationally, which is the practice of overusing keyword stuffing is the practice of overusing keywords in an attempt to manipulate search engine rankings. And when people read it, it's a huge turnoff. Okay. So you might fool a couple people to get them there, but then they're never coming back because it's obvious what you did. Right. Create high quality content. In other words, give them something that's of value. Information that's informative and engaging. Your content should be relevant to the search intent of your target audience and should provide them with value. Structure your content in a way that makes it easy for users to read and understand. Use clear headings and subheadings and break up your text with images and videos. In other words, don't have just a white paper. You want to have images in there. You want to have videos in there. You want to have some section breaks, headings, interesting headings. Promote your website on social media and other websites. This is important. This is like the grease that gets the whole ball rolling. Sometimes people go, I don't want to do any social media, especially if it's not your favorite platform. So I'll talk to people and they're like, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm only on LinkedIn. I don't want to use, Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or Facebook or whatever for whatever reasons. It's not their personal preference. And I get that. However, that is a consumer mindset, and you need to think more like a producer. Where are the people who use your products and services? Where are they hanging out? You need to have posts and engage as a company, not just as yourself, but as your company. You need to be engaging in content, creating content, engaging in other people's content on that platform to help raise your visibility because that little push can get the avalanche started. You've got to get some momentum on your website typically before Google is going to start to promote it over major brands. So the larger the competition level is, the more people are searching for that term, for example, then the harder it's going to be for you to rank on page one, especially in positions 1, 2, and 3. But how do you get started up that track? Social media, email campaigns, marketing efforts, sales efforts, those kinds of things can really help get that word of mouth going and get people coming over what we call organically. In other words, you're not paying for it, they're just starting to come naturally. As that volume increases, you start to trend up. Google is paying attention. And now you can start to get your visitor traffic score bumped. Again, if you have 4 of the 5, you don't have traffic, but you have good site structure, you have good site speed, you have good content, and you have a fair amount of backlinks. Plus, you start getting some social media traffic or some email traffic, email campaigns that are driving traffic to your website. That'll help get the ball rolling. And then it's self-feeding at that point. Google starts to promote it, more people go. If they go and they like what you say and they stay, then you get promoted further and further along. Okay. So by following these tips, just to wrap this article up, by following these tips, you can improve your website's chances for ranking well for relevant search queries and attracting more visitors who are interested in your website's content. So let's just summarize one more time. We really have 4 types of search intent. The 4 types, again, navigational intent, informational intent, commercial intent, and transactional intent. If you will take the time to digest the key terms that you're trying to compete for, or understand what you should be competing for if you're not getting a lot of traffic, right? What are people searching for on Google in the search engine? What expressions are they using? Are they navigational, informational, transactional, or commercial? Then you start to write your content that matches that intentionality. So when they come, oh, they're here to be informed about the product and what it is, the history of it, how it works, how it helps. Or, oh, well, they've already done their research. Now they're just ready to buy. And we want to give them, good information, make it easy to buy, give them lots of options when it comes to payment and shipping. Anyways, you make it easy to do business with you. Those are ways to take that intent and then use it. Again, remember, if this is a little confusing to you and you're not sure, okay, let's say you know that people are searching, in my case, digital marketing solutions. Maybe they're how does a digital marketing company help me sell more? That might be the search that they're looking for, that I want to compete for. Okay. So what do I know about that? Well, they're looking for, I believe, informational content. But let's say I don't know that. I can put in that search term, go over to Google, see what it's presenting as the top answers, and then go visit those websites and look and see how they have laid out the content. What did they share? How many videos? Is there a buy button? Is there, some type of a consultation button? What are they giving their audience on the page that Google's recommending? Go do that for the top 3 spots and look for similarities. And that'll give you a clue as to how to lay out your own content. Maybe you were treating it as transactional or commercial, and in reality, Google is treating it as navigational or informational. And so you just have to change the strategy. But the mindset of the person that's putting in the query, Google is trying to figure it out, and Google is making some assumptions. They may or may not be correct, but Google's making those assumptions. So if you don't know where to start, I would start there. Find the key terms that are the ones that you want to compete for, and then see what Google is already serving up, and then see if you can match that style and watch how far you climb just by doing that. It's a great way to get started. All right. I don't have any unanswered questions, I believe, in the search queue, or I'm sorry, in the chat. So I'm going to sign off, but I want to thank you for sticking with me. Again, I know this was a pretty technical one. If you don't have a website, this probably didn't apply to you at all, though it might have been interesting. But if you do have a website and you're underperforming, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. Again, remember the 5 basic sections of the Google algorithm. How your website is being ranked includes site structure, on-site content, the number of backlinks that you have, your website speed, and your visitor traffic. If you're struggling with getting your website to rank higher, make sure that somebody, whether it's somebody internal or somebody external that you hire, if you don't know who to hire, you can talk to me because we do all those things at Bowman Digital Media. But make sure somebody is paying attention to those 5 categories for your SEO, because a lot of people I talk to are focused only on their online content. They really don't think about website structure once the website's built. It's just done, they think, but it's never actually done. It should be continually being worked on. And your site speed. There are ways to improve site speed. At my company, we're constantly focusing on CSS compression, for example, right? Compressing the CSS, what's not needed, what can be eliminated and reduced to make the website move as fast as possible. Okay. Those things a lot of people don't pay attention to, but they should. Backlinks. You should always be trying to get more backlinks for your website. And then paying attention to the visitor traffic and what they're actually doing on your site. What pages are they going to? What are they clicking on? How long are they staying there? These are important things to know because it's clues on what needs to be fixed that's already on the website, and it's clues as what other content you should create moving forward, and not only what to create, but how to create it, how to lay it out, how to set it up. Okay. These are all important things. They're fundamental to SEO. So if you don't have somebody paying attention to those 5 things, I suggest that's where you would start. But once you have those 5 things in tow and you're working on those 5 things, understanding the search intent probably is the 6th most important thing that you can do for SEO. Because once you understand what those prospects are out there looking for, now it gives you a great idea on not only what content to create, but how to lay it out so that it satisfies the search intent that they had, whether it was for informational purposes, navigational purposes, transactional, or commercial, so that you can get them to establish a healthy rapport with you, or you make it so easy for them to purchase that they just go ahead and complete the purchase. All right. My name is Ira Bowman. Thank you so much, as always, for joining. I have a special show planned for next week. The book that I mentioned earlier, I'm just going to bring that back up on the screen one more time. This business tips for, everyday techniques to overcome anxiety and mental health struggles. I have a cohort of co-authors. So Janet Hogan and Dr. David Foster, Eric Rosen, Jim Lamott, Lisa Jones, Rick Loke, Ronita Gotzi, TD, I can never say this right, so I'm not going to butcher it. Shmika Cole and my brother have all been invited on next week's episode to talk about this book. Now, the book is Everyday Techniques to Help with Anxiety, Stress Reduction, Mental Health Issues. So I'm going to ask them things like, hey, what motivated you to come on the show or to write the book? What tips did you share? How did you find out about this specific technique? And how has it changed your life? I'm going to ask those questions. So if you or anybody you know struggles with anxiety, stress, or mental health issues, which is probably most of us, if we're being honest, myself included, absolutely. But I think it's going to be a great show. We did one like this before on the business tips book, so we're going to do it this time on this mental health book, and I'm excited. So stay tuned for that next week. I think the week after that, I'm going to cover some other pretty technical topics, but I'm really excited to have my co-authors on the show. The book just launched live yesterday, so it's just been out now for about 24 hours. It's available on Amazon. If you want to find it, you could go to my website, which is bowmandigitalmedia.com. I'll put that there again in the slider ticker. But go to bowmandigitalmedia.com if you want to learn more about that book, or you need help with any of your digital marketing needs. If you have a question for the show, you can always submit it to me, whether that's via a direct message on LinkedIn, or you want to shoot over the contact form on my website, or you can ask it live on the show. But the show, we're trying to do two things. We're trying to educate and inform people about digital marketing and strategies that you can employ to increase your visibility online, and answer any specific questions that you might have. If you want to be a guest on the show, if you're in the marketing space, whether that's SEO or social media, any type of traditional or digital marketing, if you want to be a guest on the show, reach out to me. Let me know, because I do bring guests on the show, and I'd be happy to talk to you about your specific niche in the marketing industry. Like mine happens to be organic search for people. So I don't specialize in like ad placements and things like that. I specialize in creating content that Google will promote without spending money. That is really our specialty here at Bowman Digital Media. So I'd be happy to talk to you about your specialty and some of the fun that goes along with it, and how you can help other people, and you can promote your business while you're on the show. So if you'd like to be a guest, reach out to me and let me know. Anyways, I will see y'all again next Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. It's 1 p.m. Eastern time, or you can, of course, time correct for wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining the show. Have a great day, everybody. bowmandigitalmedia.com